in a city of gleaming skyscrapers and cutting-edge technology. Few know the corruption lurking beneath the surface. Cybersecurity expert Sophia Kim stumbles upon a web of encrypted transactions and hidden accounts, revealing a massive money laundering scheme at her company. Before she can act, she's silenced, vanishing without a trace. Her cousin, Ethan Kim, a former intelligence officer, arrives to investigate. But powerful enemies are already moving against him. Can Ethan uncover the truth and save Sophia before time runs out? Drop a comment and share where you're joining us from. If stories like this resonate with you, hit subscribe so you don't miss our next inspiring journey coming tomorrow. The sun dipped below the skyline of a sprawling, high-tech metropolis as Sophia Kim left her office in Synera Corporation, one of the city's most powerful tech conglomerates. The glass towers that surrounded her gleamed with innovation and prestige. But Sophia knew that not everything was as polished as it seemed. Beneath the surface, corruption ran deep. At 30, Sophia was a rising star in cybersecurity, entrusted with monitoring digital infrastructure for vulnerabilities. Yet, in recent weeks, she had stumbled upon something troubling. A series of encrypted transactions had caught her attention. At first, they seemed like routine business transfers. But after deeper analysis, Sophia discovered that funds were being rerouted through a complex web of offshore accounts, masking what appeared to be large-scale money laundering. Sitting at her terminal earlier that day, Sophia had traced the transactions to high-ranking executives within Synera. Names tied to both the tech firm and shadowy financial entities emerged. Sophia knew the risk of pursuing such information. Corporate whistleblowers didn't often come out unscathed. Yet, she couldn't ignore the evidence. Sophia approached Eric Tan, a coworker she trusted. Eric, a senior analyst in the firm, had mentored her when she first joined the team. He listened carefully as she showed him the encrypted data and transaction logs. This is serious," Eric muttered, adjusting his glasses. "If what you're saying is true, someone at the highest levels is involved. Have you told anyone else?" "No," Sophia replied. "I wanted to get your opinion first. What should I do?" Eric hesitated, glancing nervously around the office. "You need to be careful, Sophia. If this gets out, you'll have a target on your back. Let me think about it and get back to you. For now, don't tell anyone else." Sophia noticed the tension in Eric's voice. Normally calm and methodical, he seemed shaken. "You're not hiding something from me, are you?" she asked, narrowing her eyes. "No," Eric said quickly, though his tone was unconvincing. "Just stay cautious." Sophia nodded reluctantly but couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. After they parted ways, she returned to her desk, encrypting the files and backing them up to a secure cloud account. If anyone tried to erase her findings, she wanted a failsafe. Later that evening, Sophia left the Synera building, her mind still racing through possibilities. As she stepped out onto the street, the city's glow surrounded her. Neon signs, digital billboards, and automated drones patrolling the skyline. Despite the futuristic landscape, a primal fear settled in her gut. She adjusted her bag and glanced around. A sleek black car was parked across the street. Its tinted windows reflected the flashing lights of a nearby billboard. But the vehicle remained unnervingly still. Sophia turned away and kept walking, her footsteps quickening with each step. She couldn't be sure if the car was following her or if she was just being paranoid after everything she had uncovered. A few blocks away from her apartment, she glanced over her shoulder. The car had moved. It followed at a distance, maintaining a slow, steady pace. Sophia's heart pounded as she pulled out her phone, pretending to make a call while discreetly checking the reflections in nearby windows. The car stopped just as she turned onto a quieter street. But she knew the danger wasn't gone. When she reached her apartment building, Sophia used her security key to enter and quickly locked the door behind her. She peered through the glass lobby window. The car idled for a moment longer before pulling away, disappearing into the maze of city streets. Sophia exhaled slowly, her hands trembling slightly. The warning signs were becoming clear. She had exposed something dangerous. And now someone was watching her. Trusting anyone, even Eric, was becoming a risk. Sophia knew she had to stay ahead of whoever was tracking her. If she didn't, the secrets she had uncovered might very well bury her first. Sophia Kim sat in her office, her eyes glued to the screen as she sifted through layers of encrypted data. The more she uncovered, the more disturbing the trail became. Multiple offshore accounts funneled money through Sonera's internal networks, disguised as legitimate contracts and service fees. The pattern confirmed her suspicion: a large-scale money laundering scheme operated under the guise of innovation and corporate partnerships. The office was nearly empty. Most employees had gone home, leaving Sophia in silence. She leaned back in her chair, mentally weighing her next move. She knew she needed to escalate the matter soon. But trust was in short supply. As she reviewed another set of logs, a knock at her office door startled her. She looked up to see Matthew Crane, one of the firm's senior security officers, standing in the doorway. His broad frame blocked most of the entrance, and his expression was cold and unreadable. "Ms. Kim," Crane greeted in a neutral tone. "Mind if I have a word?" Sophia hesitated but nodded. "Sure. What's this about?" Crane stepped inside, closing the door behind him. "We've been monitoring network activity," he began. "It seems you've been accessing sensitive internal records, files outside your clearance level. I'm here to advise you to stop digging into areas that don't concern you." Sophia's pulse quickened, but she kept her composure. "I'm part of the cybersecurity team. It's my job to flag irregularities. Your job doesn't include investigating financial transactions." Crane replied curtly. He stepped closer, lowering his voice. "Consider this a friendly warning. You don't want to attract the wrong kind of attention." Sophia met his gaze, refusing to back down. "If there's no wrongdoing, there shouldn't be anything to worry about." Crane's jaw tightened. He stared at her for a moment before turning toward the door. "You've been warned," he said over his shoulder before leaving the room. Sophia waited until the door shut before exhaling deeply. The warning only confirmed that she was on the right track. She encrypted the latest batch of evidence and backed it up, knowing that any misstep could cost her everything. Later that night, Sophia returned to her apartment building. The quiet street was dimly lit, and she kept a wary eye on her surroundings. She couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. As she reached her building's entrance, footsteps echoed behind her. Before she could turn, a pair of hands grabbed her, pulling her backward. Sophia struggled, but two men in suits overpowered her. One clamped a hand over her mouth while the other restrained her arms. "You've been asking too many questions," one of the men hissed. "Time to take a break." Sophia's muffled protests went unheard as they dragged her toward a waiting black SUV. The door slid open, and she was shoved inside. The vehicle sped off, disappearing into the city's labyrinth of streets. The following morning, Ethan Kim was in the middle of a briefing at a military base when his phone vibrated with an urgent call. He excused himself and answered, hearing the panicked voice of Eric Tan on the other end. "Ethan. It's Eric. I think something's happened to Sophia." Eric stammered. "What do you mean?" Ethan asked sharply, his voice immediately tense. She's missing, Eric explained. She found something big at work, a money laundering scheme. Last night, she told me she was being followed. Now she's not answering her phone. And no one's seen her since. Ethan's expression hardened. Where was she last seen? Her apartment, Eric replied. There was no sign of her when I checked this morning. I think Sanera's involved. I'm on my way, Ethan said firmly, ending the call. Within hours, Ethan was on a flight to the city. He knew the dangers of corporate espionage and how far powerful entities would go to silence threats. Whatever Sophia had uncovered had placed her in the crosshairs of dangerous people. He wouldn't stop until he found her and exposed the truth. Ethan Kim arrived in the city at dawn, his mind racing with questions. He headed straight to a discreet cafe where Eric Tan had agreed to meet him. Eric, visibly nervous, tapped his fingers anxiously on the table as Ethan approached. Ethan, thank you for coming, Eric said, shaking his hand. Tell me everything you know, Ethan replied, his tone direct. Eric hesitated before speaking. Sophia found evidence of a major money laundering scheme at Sanera. Offshore accounts, encrypted transactions, it's big. And it involves some of the top executives. She trusted me with part of the data. But she didn't stop there. The night she disappeared, she told me someone had been following her. Ethan leaned forward. Did she leave any backups or further evidence? Eric nodded and handed Ethan a flash drive. This has everything she sent me, encrypted logs, transaction trails. I haven't gone through all of it. I'm scared. Ethan, these people are powerful. I'll handle it, Ethan reassured him. He slipped the drive into his jacket pocket. Go somewhere safe and stay under the radar. Back at his temporary hotel room, Ethan plugged the flash drive into his laptop. As the files decrypted, his eyes scanned through layers of complex data, offshore banking records, digital contracts, and false service invoices. The pattern was undeniable. Sanera was laundering millions through a network of tech firms and holding companies. Ethan made detailed notes, carefully cross-referencing key names and accounts. Among the files, he found a list of encrypted communication logs that hinted at cooperation between corporate executives and criminal intermediaries. This goes higher than I thought, Ethan muttered to himself. He knew this level of corruption would require not just evidence, but precise strategy and allies who understood the world of corporate espionage. He picked up his phone and dialed a secure number. After a few rings, a familiar voice answered. Maya Reyes. Former Intel operative, the voice said. Ethan, what brings you back to this world? I need your expertise, Ethan replied. Sophia's been kidnapped, and I'm dealing with a corporate money laundering network. I've got data, but I'll need access to high security systems and someone who knows how to navigate corporate politics. I'm in, Maya responded without hesitation. Send me the files. Let's bring your cousin home. Ethan hung up, determination hardening his features. The investigation was just beginning, and he would use every resource at his disposal to find Sophia and dismantle the conspiracy. If you enjoyed this story, please subscribe to our channel. It means so much to us. Now, let's get back to the story. Ethan Kim entered the grand lobby of the Sanera Tech Summit, blending seamlessly with the crowd of business professionals and tech enthusiasts. Wearing a tailored suit, he carried a badge that identified him as an IT security consultant. The summit was a showcase of Sanera's technological advancements, with high-ranking executives, investors, and media representatives in attendance. However, Ethan was here for a different reason. He scanned the room, noting the key players. At the center of a group near the main stage stood Ryan Hale, Synera's chief operations officer, a man heavily implicated in Sophia's encrypted files. Ethan needed more than data, he needed real-time evidence of their involvement in the money laundering network. With calculated precision, Ethan moved through the crowd, planting discrete tracking devices near strategic locations, under tables, in presentation rooms, and in restricted access areas. He avoided drawing attention, appearing like any other attendee. As he approached the executive lounge, Ethan slowed his pace, listening in on conversations. He positioned himself near a column, partially obscured by a group of chatting attendees. "Is everything under control?" a voice asked. Ethan turned slightly to see Hale speaking with Victoria Lang, the company's head of legal affairs. Lang's expression was serious. Kim's disappearance was necessary. Lang replied in a hushed tone. She had access to critical data. If that information had gone public, we'd be facing federal investigations. Hale nodded. Good. Keep her isolated. We can't afford any leaks right now. The next transfer is scheduled, and the board expects results. Ethan's jaw tightened. They had confirmed what he feared. Sophia was being detained to prevent her from exposing their operations. He silently recorded the conversation with a hidden microphone embedded in his watch. Security is tight. But if anything changes, alert me immediately. Hale added before the two executives walked away. Ethan remained in place for a moment, processing what he had learned. Sophia was alive but in grave danger. He would need to act fast. Coordinating with his contact, Maya Reyes, to plan the next steps. As the crowd began to disperse for the keynote speech, Ethan slipped out of the lounge area, his mission partially complete. He now had evidence of Synera's involvement and their plans. But time was running out to save Sophia and dismantle the scheme. The game was escalating, and he was prepared to take it to the next level. Ethan Kim sat at a quiet corner table in a small cafe, waiting for his contact. The early morning crowd was sparse, and he kept his back to the wall, scanning the entrance for potential threats. Moments later, Nina Alvarez arrived, her camera bag slung over her shoulder. Nina, a well-known investigative journalist, had made a name for herself by exposing corporate corruption in the tech industry. Ethan Kim, right? She asked, sliding into the seat across from him. That's me, he replied, offering a polite nod. Thanks for meeting on short notice. After what you hinted at, I couldn't stay away. Nina said. You're telling me Synera Corporation is at the center of a massive money laundering operation? Ethan pulled a USB drive from his pocket and placed it on the table. This contains encrypted transaction records, offshore account details, and internal communications. It's enough to raise serious questions. Nina took the drive and inserted it into her laptop. Her eyes widened as she scanned the data. This is huge. If I publish this, it'll put Synera under immediate scrutiny. But they're not going to go down without a fight. That's why I need your help. Ethan said. You have the platform to make this public. We'll start with enough to pressure them but not reveal everything. I need time to locate Sophia. Nina nodded. Understood. I'll release a report highlighting key evidence. It'll attract attention and make it harder for them to move quietly. Later that day, news broke across major media outlets. Headlines pointed to Synera Corporation's alleged involvement in a sophisticated money laundering network. Although the report was careful not to reveal all the evidence, it created immediate backlash. Investors demanded answers, and law enforcement agencies hinted at investigations. Synera's response was swift and brutal. That evening, Ethan parked his car in an underground garage near his hotel. The place was eerily quiet. The echoes of distant footsteps the only sound. His instinct sharpened as he noticed a black SUV parked nearby. He reached for his sidearm, concealed beneath his jacket. Suddenly, figures emerged from behind concrete pillars, weapons drawn. Ethan dove behind a parked car as bullets shattered the windows above him. "Kim, you can't hide forever," one of the attackers shouted. Ethan responded with a precise shot, hitting one of the mercenaries. He kept moving, using the cars for cover as gunfire echoed throughout the garage. Through his earpiece, Maya Reyes's voice crackled to life. "Ethan, I'm tracking your position. Backup is 5 minutes out." "I don't have 5 minutes," Ethan muttered, firing another round. He sprinted toward a stairwell, evading another volley of bullets. His military training kicked in, guiding his movements as he calculated his escape route. Reaching a maintenance corridor, Ethan found temporary refuge behind a metal door. He reloaded his weapon and checked his surroundings. The mercenaries were coordinating, their footsteps echoing closer. Ethan activated a tracking device hidden on his wristband, sending his exact location to Maya. Seconds later, he heard a distant explosion, Maya's distraction at the opposite end of the garage. The attackers hesitated, momentarily confused by the noise. Using the distraction to his advantage, Ethan emerged from his hiding spot and engaged the remaining mercenaries. 2 more fell as he pushed toward the exit. The last attacker hesitated, allowing Ethan to disarm him with a swift strike. Breathing heavily, Ethan made his way to the street level, where an unmarked van pulled up beside him. Maya opened the door. "Get in. We need to move before they regroup." Ethan climbed into the van, adrenaline still pumping through his veins. Scenarios escalating fast. "They're scared." "Good," Maya said with a smirk. "That means we're getting closer to the truth." As they drove off into the city's labyrinth of streets, Ethan knew the stakes had risen. Scenario wouldn't stop until they eliminated every threat to their operation. But neither would he. He had Sophia to find, and a conspiracy to destroy. Sophia Kim sat alone in a sterile, windowless room within Scenera Corporation's secure facility. The walls were cold steel, and the only sound was the steady hum of overhead fluorescent lights. Days of psychological pressure had worn her down, but she refused to break. The company's interrogators had threatened her, promising that her silence was the only way to survive. Yet, she remained defiant. The door opened, and a guard escorted another detainee into the room. He was a young man, mid-20s, with disheveled brown hair and weary eyes. Sophia recognized him from a brief mention in the data files, Liam Reynolds, a former employee who had tried to expose Scenera's illegal activities months earlier. "I'm Sophia," she said cautiously after the guard left. "Liam," he replied, glancing around the room. "So they got you too?" "Looks like it," Sophia said. "I'm guessing you were trying to do the right thing?" "Yeah. But Scenera has ways of making people disappear," Liam muttered. "They've kept me isolated for weeks." "What about you?" "They want to stop me from revealing what I found. But I won't give them what they want," Sophia replied. "We need to find a way out." Liam shook his head. "This place is locked down tight." "Not completely," Sophia said, her eyes narrowing as an idea formed. "I have some skills with network systems. If I can access their security grid, I might be able to create a window for us to escape." Liam's eyes lit up with cautious hope. "You really think you can do that?" "I'll need your help," Sophia said. "If we work together, we might stand a chance." Later that night, Sophia sat near a surveillance camera, appearing calm and compliant. In reality, she had discreetly hacked into the facility's system using a hidden device she had assembled from parts scavenged in the room. Liam kept watch by the door. "Almost there," Sophia whispered, her fingers flying across the device's small interface. The security feeds flickered momentarily before returning to normal. But she had successfully disabled the motion detectors along the hallway leading to the exits. "Now," she urged Liam. The two slipped into the corridor, moving swiftly and silently toward the next checkpoint. The guards remained unaware that their systems had been compromised. Sophia's resolve hardened with every step. She wouldn't let Sonera control her or the truth she carried. Their time was running out. Ethan Kim stood in a dimly lit warehouse on the outskirts of the city, surrounded by tactical teams and federal agents. Blueprints of Sonera Corporation's secure facility were spread across a large table. Ethan pointed to key access points on the map. "We'll hit them from 3 entry points," he explained. "Teams Alpha and Bravo will secure the main and secondary entrances, while my team breaches the underground maintenance tunnel. The goal is to minimize resistance and secure the server room." "Any word on Sophia's location?" an agent asked. "She's likely in the high security wing," Ethan replied. "Once I reach the server room, I'll access the internal systems to pinpoint her position. The data she uncovered is our insurance, so we need to upload it before Sonera has time to react." The team nodded in agreement. Ethan glanced at Maya Reyes, who had been assisting with logistics. "Everything set on your end? Comms are secure. The distraction teams will be ready to draw their attention once we breach," Maya confirmed. Minutes later, the teams converged on Sonera's facility under the cover of night. Ethan led his team through a hidden entrance in the maintenance tunnel. The corridor was dim, with faint echoes of distant machinery. They moved swiftly and silently, weapons drawn. "Checkpoint ahead," one of the agents whispered. Ethan raised his hand, signaling the team to halt. Surveillance cameras scanned the area, but Ethan had prepared for this. He activated a device that temporarily disrupted the security feeds, allowing the team to advance undetected. They reached a reinforced door leading to the server room. Ethan connected a bypass device to the electronic lock, and within seconds, the door slid open. The room was vast, filled with rows of humming servers. Ethan immediately went to work, inserting a drive into the main terminal. "Uploading evidence now," he said over the radio. Lines of encrypted data scrolled across the screen as the files began transferring to secure public servers. The process would take several minutes. "Teams Alpha and Bravo. Status?" Ethan asked through his earpiece. "Both entrances are secure," came the reply. "Minimal resistance so far, but it won't stay that way for long." "Understood," Ethan said, his focus sharp. The evidence was almost fully uploaded. Soon, Sonera's secrets would be exposed for the world to see. But the real challenge was still ahead, rescuing Sophia and getting everyone out alive. Alarms blared throughout Sonera Corporation's high-security wing. Red emergency lights flashed, casting eerie shadows along the sterile corridors. Sophia Kim and Liam Reynolds sprinted down a narrow hallway, their breathing ragged as they moved toward the building's south exit. The raid had created the diversion they needed to break free, but they knew the guards would soon regroup. "This way," Sophia whispered, leading Liam toward a maintenance stairwell. She had memorized the facility's layout after weeks of captivity. Every step felt like a battle against time. "They'll be on us soon," Liam said, glancing nervously over his shoulder. "Not if we keep moving," Sophia replied, her voice steady despite the adrenaline coursing through her veins. The two descended the stairwell in silence, the distant sounds of gunfire and shouting echoing around them. They were close to the facility's server room, a place that could offer them both safety and answers. At the same time, Ethan Kim and his tactical team cleared the last checkpoint. A group of armed guards attempted to block their path. But Ethan's training kicked in. He fired precise shots, taking down 2 guards, while his team secured the corridor. Server room is ahead. Ethan said into his radio. Alpha team, keep suppressing the guards at the north entrance. Bravo team, maintain the perimeter. As Ethan reached the server room, Maya's voice crackled through his earpiece. Ethan, I've got movement in the high security wing. Sophia and another detainee are making their way toward you. I'm on it, Ethan replied, signaling his team to continue uploading the evidence. He moved swiftly through the maze of corridors, guided by Maya's real-time updates. Turning a corner, Ethan spotted Sophia and Liam emerging from the stairwell. Sophia, he called out. Sophia's eyes widened with relief. Ethan. They rushed toward each other, and Ethan quickly assessed her condition. Are you hurt? No, but we need to get out of here. The guards are regrouping, Sophia said. Follow me. We're almost done uploading the evidence, Ethan instructed, leading them back toward the server room. As they neared the server room, a deep voice echoed through the corridor. Matthew Crane, Sonera's head of security, stepped into view, flanked by heavily armed guards. Going somewhere? Crane asked, his tone cold and mocking. You should have stayed in your cell. Ms. Kim. Ethan raised his weapon. Let her go. Crane. It's over. The evidence is being uploaded as we speak. Crane chuckled, shaking his head. You think one raid can take down Sonera? You're playing a dangerous game, Kim. But I've always enjoyed a good challenge. Without warning, Crane's guards opened fire. Ethan shoved Sophia and Liam behind cover as bullets ricocheted off the walls. The hallway filled with the deafening sound of gunfire. Ethan's team returned fire, creating an opening. Go! Now! Ethan shouted to Sophia. Sophia and Liam sprinted toward the server room as Ethan covered their retreat. He ducked behind a metal column and fired in controlled bursts, taking down 2 of Crane's guards. Crane retreated into the shadows, barking orders to his remaining men. Once inside the server room, Ethan sealed the door. Maya. What's the status on the upload? Almost complete, Maya responded. Another 60 seconds. We don't have 60 seconds, Ethan muttered. He checked Sophia and Liam. Are you both okay? We're fine, Sophia replied, catching her breath. What now? Now we hold, Ethan said firmly. They'll come for this room next. The seconds dragged on as they prepared for another attack. Then, the upload confirmation appeared on the main terminal screen. Upload successful. Files distributed. Maya's voice came through again. It's done. The evidence is live. Ethan exhaled, tension easing from his shoulders. Good. Let's get out of here. The facility's security crumbled as federal agents swept through the remaining sections. Crane and his men retreated, knowing the situation was lost. Outside, news crews had already begun gathering, drawn by early leaks from Maya and Nina Alvarez. Ethan led Sophia and Liam through a secured path, meeting with the tactical teams at the facility's entrance. As dawn broke, the sky filled with a warm, golden light, symbolizing a new beginning. This isn't over, Sophia said quietly. Sonera won't stop just because of this raid. We'll be ready, Ethan replied, his gaze steady. We've taken the first step. Now the world knows what they've done. In the days following the raid, news of Sonera Corporation's corruption dominated headlines. Key executives, including Ryan Hale and Victoria Lang, were arrested, and law enforcement agencies launched full-scale investigations into the company's illegal operations. The money laundering network was finally exposed to the world. Outside a government building, Sophia Kim spoke with reporters. "This is only the beginning. There are others like Sonera, and I intend to continue using my skills to protect vulnerable systems from exploitation." Watching from a distance, Ethan Kim reflected on the mission. Sonera's downfall had exposed more than just corporate greed. It highlighted the intricate web of influence between private enterprise and hidden powers. The battle between justice and corruption was far from over. That night, Ethan received a cryptic message on his encrypted device: "You've exposed a piece of the game, but the players remain." He stared at the screen, knowing the warning was a sign of future confrontations. The fight was not finished. The story delves into the intersection of technology, corporate power, and corruption, highlighting the high stakes in modern espionage. Ethan Kim transitions from a detached military strategist to a protector committed to civic justice, understanding that battles are no longer confined to war zones. Sophia Kim evolves from an isolated cybersecurity expert into a resilient whistleblower, determined to use her expertise to combat systemic corruption. Together, they demonstrate the courage needed to face powerful institutions, knowing that exposing the truth is both a personal and collective responsibility in an increasingly interconnected world. Sophia and Ethan have won this battle, but a cryptic warning remains: the players still move in the shadows. What do you think their next move should be? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.